Did Zyair Malloy kill his girlfriend? Mea Culpa starts with Mea and her husband Cal at the therapist's office. The scene introduces us to Mea's unhappy marriage and the probability that he might be having an affair with another woman called Jenna. Cal gets a call from his mother and decides to ditch the therapy session with 20 minutes to go since it is his mother's birthday. Mea refuses to leave with him and stays on for the remaining 20 minutes, and she mentions something about Cal's unhealthy devotion to his mother. After the session, Mea joins the family at the bar for the birthday party, but a bartender called Maddie stops her. He mentions something about recommending her to represent one of his friends and insists on it until Mea agrees to meet with his friend. Mea joins the family, and we are introduced to an annoying mother-in-law and her two sons, who say nothing when she loudly disrespects their wives. On the way out, they find paparazzi outside the bar, and her friend says it is because of Zyair Malloy, who is in the bar. What crime is Zyair accused of? Zyair Malloy is an artist accused of killing his girlfriend in a gruesome murder case that has gotten the citizens into an uproar, crying out for justice. The public is convinced that he killed her based on the evidence provided by the prosecution, where blood had soaked through the floor to the apartment below Zyair's, and skull fragments were found on one of his paintings. What happened between Mea and Zyair? Zyair cannot go out since the paparazzi are following him everywhere. Mea decides to hold their lawyer-client meetings in Zyair's loft to minimize his public exposure. Zyair opens up about his girlfriend, and we find out they have been dating for 6 months. The more they have meetings in his house, the more Mea and Zyair get closer until Zyair blatantly tells Mea that he likes her one day. Mea shuts the advances down even though a part of her thinks about him when having sex with her husband. Zyair's attempts to seduce her are brutal. One time she follows him to an orgy, but she quickly gets out of the place and heads home to find her husband playing games with his childhood friend whom he claims to have no feelings for, Jenna. He does not even notice her getting into the house. Then, she leaves later and heads back to Zyair's loft. She finds another woman in Zyair's loft, and they attempt to rope her in on a threesome, but she again refuses his advances and leaves. While outside in her car, she gets picture proof showing her husband Cal and Jenna entering a hotel room. In a fit of anger, Mea walks into the loft and finds Zyair naked on his bed, waiting like he is sure she will return, and they spend the night together. Was Cal having an affair with Jenna? Jimmy, Mea's private investigator, saw Jenna and Cal holding hands in a coffee shop and later saw them entering a hotel room together. However, Mea finds out that the reason why they went into the room was that Cal's mother, who was undergoing chemotherapy, was too weak to go back to their house in the outskirts, and they decided to put her into a hotel room for the night. The whole family, including Jenna, spent the night with her in the hotel room. However, given the hold that Cal's mother had on his family, including on Ray's wife, it is possible that they were all in on the lie to make Mea believe that Cal did not cheat on her. Therefore, there is no clear answer on whether or not Cal had an affair with Jenna. Does Mea eventually represent Zyair in court? Mea brings in her friend Jimmy, a private investigator, to help her judge whether or not Zyair is worth representing. After sitting down with Jimmy and showing him everything, he deduces that Zyair is hiding something. Regardless, Jimmy travels to Mexico to find information on Zyair's girlfriend, and that is when things start to get mysterious as Jimmy does not find any information about the girl, and the people around the area where her sister lives have no idea about a missing Mexican woman. However, after the night of passion, Mea starts to rethink representing Zyair since things between them are complicated. However, after talking to one of the victims of Zyair's seduction plots, she discovers that he uses the same tricks he used on her with all the women he sleeps with. Mea heads back to the loft, and as the woman had told her, she peels off the canvas with her painting over his bed and beneath it, and discovers multiple paintings of other women, including one of her allegedly murdered girlfriend that is vandalized with the words "Die Evil Bitch." Mea is angry and frightened, and she decides not to represent Zyair. Did Zyair kill his girlfriend? Mea visits the judge and recuses herself from the case, citing an inappropriate relationship with the client. Her mother-in-law and brother-in-law find out about the affair and confront her in front of her husband, Cal. He does not give her a chance to talk, and after leaving the house, Mea hops on the next plane to take a vacation to a resort in Santo Domingo. Mea accidentally bumps into Zyair's supposedly dead girlfriend, who soon runs away when she realizes that Mea has recognized her. Mea calls her friend Jimmy and asks him to come to Santo Domingo to help her look for the woman. She then calls her brother-in-law and tells him that Zyair, who was now in jail since the prosecution found him guilty, is innocent since the woman he is believed to have killed is alive. Ray's demeanor and attitude towards Mea change as he politely convinces her to come home and let him send his people to the resort to look for the woman. Mea agrees and goes back home to Ray's house. Ray's mother is also in the house and unbelievably welcoming. However, Mea finds out that everything is a lie to lure her back home to stop her from finding the woman who can prove Zyair's innocence, since Ray, her mother, and Cal made the plan to frame Zyair and use the case to secure Ray's election under the campaign slogan of fighting crimes. Therefore, Zyair did not kill his girlfriend. Why was Zyair framed for murder? After stepping away from Ray, his mother and Ray's wife gathered at the kitchen island. Mea received an email from Jimmy with proof of Ray's involvement in framing Zyair. She notices a dark door open, and inside, she finds another one of Zyair's paintings with a layer of women, and one of the paintings is of her friend/Ray's wife. Mea suddenly realizes that Ray and her in-laws framed Zyair to get back at him for sleeping with Ray's wife. Although we are not sure when Cal comes to know about the plan, he still knows about it and follows his brother and mother's lead, since Mea also cheated on him with the same man. How does Mea Culpa end? Mea finds out that she and her friend are unsafe with their in-laws and asks Ray's wife to wake up the kids so they can leave the house. However, Ray and his mother are serious, and they are willing to kill both of them, leading to a bloody confrontation. Azalea stabs Ray's wife, but she manages to help her friend find the key to the locked bulletproof door, and Mea flees the scene. After flinging her mother-in-law off the hood of the truck, she is clinging on after crashing the truck into a tree. Mea runs on foot along a deserted road and meets up with Cal, who is heading to the house. Cal pretends to call 911 but is talking to his brother, who is telling him about what happened at the house and telling Cal to make sure he brings Mea back. Mea overhears the conversation when she turns the Bluetooth on, and Cal's phone automatically connects to the car speakers. Cal starts to insult her, saying that he should have listened to his mother and not married her, or that he should have beat her up to put her in line instead of using sweetness to try and make her conform. Mea notices a truck coming from the opposite direction, steers the car into the oncoming track, and Cal, whose seatbelt she has unlocked, is flung through the windshield. Ray is arrested after an anonymous email is sent exposing his crimes, including framing Zyair, who is then set free. While talking to the press after his release, Zyair thanks Mea for helping him prove his innocence and getting him out of jail. At the end of the movie, Mea, watching from a corner as Zyair gets out of prison, gets a text from him thanking her for setting him free and pleads for a chance to see her again. However, Mea throws the phone in the nearest trash can and walks away.